All right. Hi, everybody. I have been thinking about making this video literally all day, partly because I put up a status earlier today about just had something really incredible and cool happen in my life today, and I gotten so much love from people about it, and it's totally made me super happy. And so if you're one of the people who liked or commented my status from this morning, thank you so much. You guys have no idea how much it means to me. It's been a really cool day and a lot of cool things going on. And the reason I kind of wanted to put this group together, so if you haven't seen any of my posts from earlier in the week, I'm basically running what I call a little workshop on Monday, or starting on Monday, to help people kind of get a head start on working on their confidence. So, self-acceptance and confidence is something that's really been a passion of mine, I guess, something that I feel very strongly about, mainly because I spent, I don't know, a good majority of my life struggling with my own confidence and struggling with my own self-doubts and fears and kind of all the things that go along with not feeling good about who you are and being nervous about who you are, being just not confident and not self-assured, and knowing very deeply how much that can affect every facet of your life. And also from watching other people and really learning a lot about this over the last 5 or so years, I've seen what can happen if you really put the time and effort into building up your confidence and working on yourself. And I'm sorry, my phone keeps shaking because I'm like hitting the table because I talk with my hands like this, and now it's making everything shake. Anyways, sorry. Back to the topic at hand. So the deal with my group on next week, it's a 7-day group, and the idea is I plan to share basically some of the key things and key tools and just key concepts that I think are necessary to build a very strong foundation from which you can then build off of when you're working on your confidence. And there's really no such thing, in my opinion, as being too confident, and that's because confidence is something that's very different from being cocky or being stuck up or any of those things. In fact, if you're truly a confident, self-assured person, you are not cocky, you're not a dick, you don't walk around thinking that you're the best thing out there, because you don't have to. You're not putting on airs, you're not fluffing your feathers to look a little fancier because you don't have to, because you're not worried about that. That's not where your mind is at, that's not where your heart is at. You don't need that because even though you might care about what other people think because you want to bring value to other people and you genuinely are a caring, normal human being, you don't live and die by what other people think of you or what people might judge you for. So, because I had some of my own personal struggles with this, I started dealing with, body image issues and self-harm and all kinds of just nonsense like that when I don't think I was even a teenager. I think I was 11 or 12 when that really started for me, and it really wasn't up until my mid-20s that I got to a point where I decided I needed to work on these things, and I sought out resources, books and trainings and activities that helped me figure out what was actually helping me versus helping me, feel better about myself and build myself up versus what was just medicating me or, helping the symptoms and not the actual cause. So over the years, I've collected a lot of ideas and concepts that have worked for me and that I've seen work for other people. And my hope with this group next week is to share that. And it's completely free. I'm not selling anything or anything like that. It's really just as a group where I just want to help people kind of get started on that, maybe help them streamline the process so they don't have to spend like 5 or 10 years trying to get to that place, and make it a little more, I don't know, help cut out the fat and just get to the nitty gritty that actually makes a difference, at least from my personal experience. And I say nothing that I tell anyone to do or suggest it's 100%, because everyone's going to be different. Everyone has their own struggles, has their own issues, and has their own things to work through, and also has their own strengths and weaknesses, and everything's going to be different for everybody. But I think it doesn't hurt to have as much information and as many resources as possible so that you can weed through that stuff and figure out, okay, this works for me, this didn't make a difference, that definitely does not work for me, I'm good. I think it never hurts to get a lot to work with, and then you figure out what works best for you, and you stick with that, and you work on it. So, That's kind of the gist of the group that I'm running next week. Now, I will be sharing something every day in that group that I think is important, or I think it's something worth working on, and sharing as many resources, whether it's books or websites or trainings or whatever, or activities, and kind of giving people homework. It's nothing crazy, but I want people to take action, because you can learn every trick out there. You can learn every lesson, every principle, every every concept out there that can help you, and if you just let it sit in your head and don't do anything with it, it's not going to help you. I mean, it's like anything else. You can learn every exercise out there and know exactly how to do every single kind of push-up, every single kind of squat, how much you should lift, how much you should progress, but if you just sit on the couch and don't do any of it, it doesn't do squat, right? So you got to take action. So that's why I'm assigning homework, and I'm not going to force anybody to do anything, because honestly, you're all adults. You can do whatever you want. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to help you. I'm not going to babysit you. I'm not your mama. So, so that's the group. So, I thought it'd be kind of nice to maybe share a couple, 3 sort of bonus tips that, so I kind of came up with the material for the group a few weeks ago. And then when I drive and listen to my own personal development and a variety of trainings in my car, I always have a bunch of new ideas. And today I was listening to a particular training that really struck a few chords with me, and it got me thinking about a few things, and I thought of 3 new tips, and I thought it'd be kind of nice to maybe share those as kind of a sneak peek, and just, why the hell not, right? Because it's Friday. I would say it's a beautiful day, but I think it's about to start pouring, but it's a good day, and I'm alive, healthy, happy. I hope you are too. But yeah, I wanted to share 3 things that I think can help you hopefully build your confidence up if that is something you struggle with, or if you know somebody else that you think struggles with, maybe these are 3 tips that you can share with them, and it might help them out. Even if it's just a single one of these resonates, or maybe it gets you thinking about something else, and you're like, that tip itself wasn't what I need to hear, but it got me to think about something else, and that was what I needed, then it's still worthwhile. So I took notes, which is why I keep looking down, because I forget everything, because my brain is all over the place. So, tip number 1, because I don't want this to be super long either, try doing small challenges for yourself. And the medium or the context of those challenges is going to be very specific to you. You got to find stuff that I think should push you a little bit out of what you're comfortable with, what you do normally, but it should also be feasible. For instance, I work out, right? But I wouldn't make a challenge for myself to go and bench press 500 pounds, because I'm going to fail, and setting up yourself for failure automatically is not going to help you build your confidence. And it's unrealistic. But for instance, the cleanse I just did, that I finished last week, it was something that I knew it was going to be a challenge. I knew it was going to force me to do something different, to change my habits a little bit, to challenge some of the beliefs that I kind of had built up over the last few months, and some of the self-limitations, or the hell's the word? Whatever. The limitations I put on myself mentally. I felt pretty good that I could probably meet this challenge and do well with it, and the pressure of knowing that I had to go and do this thing and do it right helped me push through the challenge. And because it went awesome, and I committed to 100%, and I got through the 3 weeks, and I was so thrilled with my results, it really built my confidence. And not just in a general sense, I felt good about my body, I was feeling healthier than I had the last 6 or 7 months. I had dropped a bunch of weight that I had gained over just the stress of buying a place from an idiot, and just moving, and new job, travel, all that stuff. And I'm confident because I committed to something, and I did it. I didn't cheat, I didn't waver, I didn't, all my doubts about it, all my intimidations, all my fears over it, I got through them. And it's that kind of challenge where it has to push you, it has to be something different, it has to be something new, but it gets you to get a little brave. And then when you see that it works, and you see some success is a huge way to build confidence. And it's kind of 2-part. One, you succeed at something, so that's awesome, that makes you feel great. But you also, if you set out to accomplish a goal, and you can check things off during that goal, so that's one of the things I really, really liked about doing the cleanse, because every single day was something I could check off. I took my supplements, I ate my meals, I did my yoga, so there's there's things along the way that you can check off. That's really, really helpful, because those are all little individual victories along the way. And people tend to discount things because they go after these whopping challenges that like are insane, because they want to go cold turkey on something. Say they want to, go and eat 100% plant-based diet, everything organic, everything fresh, when all they've ever eaten is McDonald's, Burger King. Well, probably eat it one or the other, not both. But anyways, you get the idea. And some people can do that, don't get me wrong. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. Sponsored diet. But you can't get overwhelmed either. If you set yourself up to a challenge that's gonna just, you're not gonna meet it, that there's just realistically no way to do that, don't do that to yourself. The whole idea is to build confidence, not knock yourself out of there. So pick a challenge that maybe you've been considering, maybe you've been hesitant about, but if you did it, you'd feel amazing. And it can really be, whatever is really specific to you. For me, they tend to be fitness related, nutrition related, personal growth related, and business related, because those are the kind of things that's my world. But maybe it's something with your kids. Maybe it's something relationship specific with your spouse or significant other. Maybe it's a challenge with your family. Maybe it's a challenge with your work. Maybe it's a challenge with passion of yours. Maybe you've been hesitant to go play an instrument in front of a group of people because you're nervous, but you know that you can do it, and you've practiced, and it's something you can build up towards. That's just having successes that challenge you a little bit and force you to grow a little bit are a great way to build up confidence. And they don't, again, have to be anything crazy. You don't have to go after monster goals, but things that help push you along and that you can succeed at, and then reassure yourself that, you are a capable human being. Those are a great way to build up confidence. So, number 2, and this one might be a little abstract for some people, but so I'm a very logical person. I like facts. I like data. I think in logic. That's how I deal with most things. And that's not to say I don't have emotions. I'm still a very emotional person, but I use my facts and data to kind of bring me back to a place of being rational and trying to deal with situations. So what I mean by that is, if you see things setting you off, see things upsetting you, see things that stress you out, see things that, trigger certain behaviors or activities, try to look from outside and try to get a different perspective of what's setting that off. Because I think, maybe the best way to explain is just give you an example of sometimes, I'll see things that upset me, or I behave a certain way, and I've gotten much better the last few years of thinking okay, wait a minute, that's not how I want to be behaving in this situation. That's not what I want to say. That's not what I meant. What was it that triggered that? What caused me to believe that? How can I prevent that in the future? I think just taking a step back and having a different perspective about yourself, and sometimes that might come from reading. Personal development books have been great for getting me to think outside of myself sometimes and seeing okay, why is this happening, or why do I react like this, or why is somebody else reacting like this to me? I think it's just nice to use facts about yourself and sometimes step away from the feelings of it and give yourself a chance to rationally think about what's going on. Because even, for instance, I had something happen maybe a year and a half ago that really, really affected me very negatively, but a lot of it was because another person was in a really tough place emotionally, and the quote, hurt people. So people who are hurt and who are hurting and in pain tend to be the ones that lash out. I mean, it's like anything else. You come across a scared dog and they go to snap at you. It's not that dog has an issue with you. It's just they're scared, they're worried, they're insecure, they're nervous. And that's how people can get too. If people are nervous and insecure and fearful, they're going to lash out at you, and it's going to upset you. And sometimes you might take it really personally, and you might have to step back and be like, you know what, this isn't about me. This is, there's nothing wrong with me. I didn't necessarily say the wrong thing. It's just I was here as a venue for that person to let out what they need to let out. So it's kind of a nice way to build your confidence, because you start thinking about how there's not necessarily always something wrong with you. Because I think a lot of us will take anyone else's reactions and anyone else's judgments and anyone else's doubts and fears that they express towards you or around you, and you might take that very personally because you're sensitive to it. And you think oh my God, I'm the issue here, I'm the problem, I'm the one that has something wrong with me. And then I think sometimes if you step back and consider the whole situation, the context of it, it might be easier to think okay, this might not be related to me at all. I did I realistically trigger anything? No. What are the facts of the situation? Did I say something specific that was wrong? Was I insensitive? And then it really makes you look inward too. Like, if I was the insensitive one, why? Why did I say that? What, was it something that I wasn't dealing with in myself or in my own situation that made me lash out? So I think looking at the facts of the situation, stepping away from the feelings for a second, and kind of reassessing what happened in the context of it can help you realize that sometimes people are upset just because they're upset. Sometimes you get upset and maybe you just don't know what triggers you. But if you step back and you kind of, I guess what it goes back to in the end for me is having control over yourself and having control over how do you react to things and why you react to them. Because there might be things that triggered you that you don't even realize are triggers for you. And if you even are able to acknowledge what triggers you, you might be able to say, hey, I don't want that to upset me. It doesn't have to upset me. So next time it comes on, you might be able to catch that even sooner and be like, you know what? This isn't that big of a deal to me. And because part of confidence comes with having control over yourself and being assured in your abilities and in your worth as yourself. And I think getting an outside perspective of some of your behaviors and activities can be a good way to do that. It's not the most obvious way to build confidence, but I again, from my own personal experience, I feel being able to step back and kind of disconnect the emotion for a second from what's actually happening and understanding everyone's role in that, including your own, can be really, really informative. All right, that one's kind of heavy stuff. Last one. Okay, so a great way to make yourself feel good, and this is sort of two-part, because it's going to help other people too, is give compliments and take compliments. Okay, so think about when you tell somebody a genuine compliment. Like, you see somebody's, I don't know, some girl in the street has an awesome haircut or she has like the coolest shoes ever. Go and tell them. Just, who cares if you freak them out? I mean, don't be a creep about it, but people, nothing makes somebody feel better than getting a compliment. And if you can make somebody feel good, that makes you feel good. So awesome way to make yourself feel good and feel more confident is to give somebody a compliment. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Trust me, you can find anybody on the street, and especially, you can find your friends, your family, your spouse. Fuck it, give your dog a compliment if you need to. Just dish it out. You can't give enough compliments, all right? Now, on the flip side of that, you've got to get better at taking compliments. So this one I very much speak from experience, because I'm still terrible at accepting compliments, because that's where your self-doubts can come in and be, if somebody says like, oh, you look really pretty in that, and you're like, oh, thanks, but you're really like, no, I don't, I look like shit, you're just saying that, and you're just trying to be nice, there's no way, like, you're just, whatever. You can't do that. Like, first of all, just say thank you, because that person is being kind and generous by saying that, because they didn't have to say it. Don't insult them by saying that they're wrong, or insinuating that they're wrong, or they don't know what they're talking about. Like, this is a thing that took me a really long time to learn, is especially if your spouse or somebody says like that you look really good, or oh my god, you look so hot in that, or you're really sexy or something. Don't disrespect them and somehow say that their judgment is wrong and they don't know what they're talking about and they're full of shit by saying that that compliment is fake or false. I mean, they believe what they're saying. How dare you say, no, you're wrong because it's a different opinion than my own. If they're saying it and this is somebody that you respect or you love and appreciate, why wouldn't you be like, okay, this is what they're seeing and that's what they believe. Thank you. Like, just say thank you. Took a really long time for me to learn that, to take compliments is actually really hard, and to believe compliments is really hard. But if you think about it, if you respect or care about this person who's giving you a compliment, say it's your boss even saying you did a really good job on something at work, like, trust them. Trust that they know what they're talking about, especially if you already do trust them with everything else. Like, why would they suddenly be wrong about that one thing? And why would everyone be lying to your face? That just doesn't make sense. So give compliments, really important, because it makes other people feel good. It's going to make you feel good when somebody smiles at you because you give them an awesome compliment they did not expect. Like, that's an awesome feeling. And it costs nothing. It takes no effort on your part, because it can be about whatever. They did a really good presentation. They made an awesome meal. I don't know, they have really cool shoes. You love their sneakers. You love their jeans. Their haircut looks really good. Maybe they had a really funny Facebook post. Oh, you love that meme they put up. I don't know. Whatever. They have an adorable dog. it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be some elaborate compliment. Just be nice and be honest. And if you are nervous about telling somebody a compliment, trust me, they're going to be even more like in awe of you doing that. And if you get a compliment, just believe it. Just trust it. Even if you haven't quite gotten to a point maybe where you think that's truth, it's truth to the person that's telling it to you. And they're being kind of generous by telling it to you. That's their truth. And there's no reason you should doubt it. You know, they want nothing from you, right? If somebody's just giving you a compliment and that's that, just take it and accept it and embrace it. All right? So those are kind of my 3 tips for building confidence. Again, they're probably not the most obvious, but that's kind of good because I want them to be something a little different, and I want them to be little nuggets that you can kind of chew on for a bit. And again, maybe not every single one of these is very specific to you, but I'm hoping maybe it inspires something else or gives you some other ideas, or just gives you some things to think about, maybe something different to try. Because all of us are very different. Where we all are awesome or where we lack is going to be very, very different. So it's going to take different things to work on different strengths and weaknesses in different parts of our personalities and of our lives. So yeah, you just got to figure out what works best for you. But I hope that at least some of this is helpful. If you do want to be a part of my group next week, you can leave me a comment below or shoot me a message. Just let me know. I'm basically taking people up till about Sunday afternoon, because Sunday night is when we're going to have our first video and sort of assignment. So I want to have the group together. It's going to be on a private Facebook group, so it'll be all private and confidential, open to anybody. The more the merrier. Feel free to invite a friend. And I hope it's fun. I hope it's informative. You know, we might get into some stuff that's a little uncomfortable, but it's the only way to grow. You got to push yourself sometimes, and there's no harm in feeling better about yourself and being more confident, because trust me, it translates into every other part of your life. And that's that. And I say that confidently because I know, having not been a confident person for a long time to now being a much more confident person, because I'm not quite there yet. Trust me, I'm a work in progress too. And I work on it every single day. But it's being in a much better place. I have no complaints, and I know plenty of other people who've gotten themselves out of emotional holes, and I think, you know, there's nothing wrong with being happy, there's nothing wrong with building up a better attitude, and there's nothing wrong with finding more ways to have gratitude about your life. So, yeah, that's kind of my 3 tips. I believe this video will stick around for 24 hours, something like that. I don't know, I don't do Facebook Live very often. So feel free to watch it, feel free to share, and again, if you have any comments, I'm always open to feedback. I love hearing what people have questions about, or, you know, if there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. So I love doing this stuff. So thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it.